Hello everyone, it's a beautiful Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajilu Olabisi Ubu, and with me are the ladies. Hello Miriam, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. If you didn't say Tuesday, it feels like a Monday.
Yeah, it does.
I'm fine, thank you. So last week, my daughter and I were opportune to sit with a brand called Skate Store. So it's a one-stop shop for back to school, everything, and they wanted to do a Children's Day so they're doing a Children's Day campaign, and we're part of the campaign. So you get to watch that on my social media and their social media. They sat down with Ima. So the interesting thing is that they were saying to me that when they came with like a script for Ima, tell her what to do. They said in the end she directed them.
I'm telling you.
Halfway I had to leave. When they said to her, say this way, she'd be like, no, don't worry, I know what to say.
Yeah.
No, I think you should do it this way. That they were so blown away. They had never met anyone like that. They really enjoyed working with her.
She's a natural.
Yeah.
When you see Ima, you know. She's dramatic, she's intelligent, yeah. And she knows how to use her words. That's one thing I like about her. She knows the right words to use for the right adjective or the right quality. How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. Since we're talking about children, Children's Day was Saturday, and in church we celebrated Children's Day on Sunday. It was such a beautiful service. Children led the praise, children choir. It was everything. Everything was handled by the kids, and I spent most of my Children's Day coaching my children presenters. One was like 7-year-old. She was like, welcome to the Star Christian Center. This is the home of stars. Guess what? I was like, she had practiced. She had so much energy. And I just feel like it's a beautiful platform. The church provides a beautiful platform to groom talent in children. And a lot of parents should take advantage of such platforms, because a lot of children, when they are very young like that, their natural abilities are displayed without being curbed by society.
Yep.
As they get older, they become more cautious, they are more watchful, they don't want to be judged, so they are not going to come out in that natural self. So it is important we catch them like that. Less than 7, less than 8, pay attention to your children, see what they feel like doing, and encourage them to do it. It's not usually convenient for parents because we're so busy, but the
we
more
have to make money. You know?
the more we pay attention to those important things, we help them to discover it early enough that they can scale it profitably.
The money has to pay their school fees. So my children's school, they do events for parents every blessed day. Today, Father's Day. Tomorrow, Mother's Day. Next tomorrow, this day. The other day,
They want parents to come and observe.
I had to tell the teacher, Auntie,
Well,
where will I get the school fees now if I have to be
every day.
Parents in this school, are they not working, you know, but they find a way to make it work. So this weekend for me, I was at Alagbado, went to see my in-laws. My husband's uncle's daughter, first daughter, was getting married. So I went there, we had fun. Yes, we had fun. I remember that particular uncle has been there for me. He was the one that came to marry me from my father's house. So I was happy I showed up and I showed out. Trust me now, I showed up and I showed out, you know. Then after that, Sunday was Children's Day. My daughter led the praise worship. I didn't even know when they had time to rehearse. I just walked into church because they left before I got there. And I saw somebody singing praise and worship. How she knew all the Yoruba songs, she has to explain. Because I hardly sing Yoruba songs in the house.
Daughter is,
but it was good,
natural.
yeah. And my son was on the drum. You know, like it was a full service.
Like the family.
It was fun. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So in our banter, we forgot the most important news of yesterday. Your view was 10 years old. So we've clocked a decade. But I think we're going to push the celebrations to next week, I think. And then we'll see some of the things we're going to be doing and showcasing, some behind the scenes, things that I'll be doing. So now let's go to The Nation and newspaper reviews. Governors unfold agenda in 28 states. Democracy deepens. Ipman seeks probe of 60 million litre daily petrol consumption claim. Torrents of tributes for media mogul Dokwesi. Airports named after Buhari, Awolowo, Idiagbo, and others. US, UK, Saudi Arabia envoys, others in bilateral meetings with Tinubu. My plans by Tinubu. Experts back president on subsidy, exchange rate policies. Biden pledges to work with new government. Take decisive action, Christian Association of Nigeria tells president. What do we have in The Nation?
Okay, so I will take the United States President Joe Biden congratulated our new president, President Bola Tinubu, and says that he promises to work together with our president to deliver a more peaceful and prosperous future for the global community. He said that his own administration has worked to strengthen ties between Nigeria and the United States. He says, I look forward to continuing this work with President Tinubu to support economic growth, advance security, and promote respect for human rights. The people-to-people connection between our two countries run particularly deep. And then he says it's nurtured by vibrant Nigerian diaspora in the United States. As we know, I'm sure half of our jackpot people who are in the United States. Yeah. Then he says also that as we further deepen our partnership with Nigeria, I look forward to drawing even more on ideas and energy for this dynamic connection between our countries. And also says, as Africa's largest democracy and economy, Nigeria's success is world success. And I agree. Elected leaders owe it to their people to show that democracy can deliver for their needs. And the United States will continue to work closely with Nigeria as a friend and partner to deliver a more peaceful and prosperous future for our world. I think it was a beautiful message.
Okay.
Nice message.
So the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, yesterday objected to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, pronouncement that Nigeria consumes over 60 million litres per day. IPMAN's National Vice President, Bola Ahmed, in a chat with The Nation, appealed to President Bola Tinubu, let's say Ashwaju, I can use that as well, to, as a matter of urgency, probe the management of the subsidy fund, as this will put his administration in a pole position to know how much can be truly saved for infrastructure and education from the subsidy scheme before looking forward to the expected 13 trillion savings annually from phasing out the subsidy. So according to Ahmed, he said President Tinubu should know that 13 trillion is not the real figure of subsidy. Therefore, removing it, that's the subsidy now, immediately without knowing the availability of product and what the daily consumption is merely banking on the 13 trillion being banded, could pose a challenge for the administration. This is because people will be expecting that he has 13 trillion to come to government posts for infrastructure. So he has to take a chill pill, study the metrics and what goes on there. Now he will have the proper data, the proper figure, before he can now phase out subsidy. And they've been planning to phase out subsidy for a while. So this is not like it's a new thing, you know. So I know last week I took a story.
11 years too late.
Yes, I took a story where they said they are still probing and they don't have the data of how much liters of fuel we actually spend. That's why the problem is.
It doesn't matter how much we are consuming. What matters is how much we are spending on subsidy. So whether the subsidy, whether we consume more or we consume less, the budget that we have allocated
for
to
subsidy should be stopped.
Now stopped. Okay. Let me discuss the plans that the new president has. President Tinubu has. Let me start with the ones I like. So he said that he's going to be the president to all. He spoke about the fact that Nigerian unity is not negotiable. He said that there will be fairness to all and that the foreign policy for Nigeria now will be Africa-centered. I like the sound of that. He also mentioned that fuel subsidy is gone. I think we all knew that. We just probably didn't expect it to be in his first inaugural speech that fuel subsidy is gone, and he's rechanneling the funds to education and job creation. He also promised 1 million jobs for Nigerians through the digital economy. He said that there will be a convergence of exchange rates and there would be removal of inhibitions towards the inflow of foreign currency. He mentioned that he's targeting a 6% GDP growth, and the old and new Naira notes will still remain legal tender, more access to electricity. We'll be discussing the speech as our Let's Talk, but these are just the highlights of the speech and what he promises to do in his new administration.
I took one more story. So it's congratulations again for our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and this is from the Christian Association of Nigeria, and they're saying that for them this handover is a momentous occasion for Nigeria, and we wish the president, well, and that he takes on the responsibilities of our great nation. But they're saying that there's so many challenges, that we have multi-faceted, challenges facing us right now, and Nigeria is. And they're saying from security concerns to economic struggles, it's clear that much work has to be done in order to ensure that Nigeria can reach its full potential. And so they're asking that our leadership has to be decisive. So they're asking that he has to be decisive, regardless of political, ethnic, or religious leanings. Nigeria can overcome all obstacles and emerge stronger than ever. And I agree that what we need is decisive leadership at this point. There's no dilly-dallying, no flip-flopping, Okay.
All right, let's take a short break now. When we come back, we move on to The Punch. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Now we're moving on to The Punch. My cabinet members feared being jailed by Buhari, Jonathan. Government eyes $4 billion from Abuja, Kano Airport's concession. Tinubu Obaseki others mourn as Dr. dies at 71. Nigeria won't break up, says Tinubu. Meets US, UK, Saudi Arabia envoys. President says Nigeria will continue to exist, promises not to be a dictator. Ipman opposes fuel subsidy removal, queues resurface in Abuja, Lagos, others. Biden writes President Tinubu says Nigeria's success is world success. Sanwo-Olu Abiodun sworn in for second term. Zamfara governor laments empty treasury. Mother, daughters found in Lagos shop, police kill man. Probe begins as rampaging youth set Lagos police station ablaze. What stories do we have in there?
The governor of Zamfara State,
Again.
as he entered, his first declaration was to say that the previous governor left empty coffers for him. And the treasury is empty, the debt is huge. He said the debt and liabilities are amounting to billions of naira. He said, so it's therefore, I'm appealing, let me quote him, I am therefore appealing to the people of Zamfara State to be more patient and give me full support and cooperation in this trying period. He promises to bring rapid development to the state during the things he said during the campaign in terms of health and agricultural opportunities, improving security and education. He said he has come to rescue Zamfara State by the grace of God. He will do his best to bring the state to greater heights, but they should note that he doesn't have funds available. We should also note the fact that the previous governor, Governor Matawale, and his deputy governor were not available during the swearing-in ceremony. Matawale has been away from the state since the time he lost the governorship election, and this is the first statement we are hearing from the new governor. If you remember, the governor before even coming in already said that there was no cooperation, there was no transition, there was no way, there was no synergy from the previous to the new.
The past governor was in the papers towards the end. almost attacking everybody. EFCC was like, why is EFCC looking at us? And then we hear that
The coffers were empty.
Treasury. I guess there's going to be lots of investigations going forward.
So I have a story here. Men of the Lagos State Police Command working to unravel the circumstances surrounding the death of a woman and her 2 daughters in a shop around PPL, Ijegun, Okoko, Maiko area of the state. They were not able to identify to get the identities of the persons involved, as at the time they were putting together the story. But according to the story, they said the woman Friday night locked herself in her shop with her 2 daughters and they went to bed. There was a generator on. So by the time they passed on Saturday, the shop was still locked, the generator was still on. It took them till Monday because they started perceiving something, and then the husband, I don't know where he came from, came to the shop and, you know, opened it and found that the wife and the 2 daughters were already dead. So some eyewitnesses are saying probably it's the generator fume. Others are saying it may be food poisoning. But for the generator to still be on inside the shop is definitely the fumes. But the police is aware of the story. They've buried them according to Muslim rites, and our souls just go out. Our hearts go out to them.
Yeah, sorry. Wow. The Lagos State Police Command has commenced investigation to track down suspects behind the burning of Oregon Police Post in Ikeja. So we heard that angry youths early hours of Monday invaded a police post in Olaiwola Close, and they set it ablaze and also injured a policeman on duty. Punch says at the time of this report, they haven't, you know, they are not sure what the motivation for that attack was, but they can confirm that a police officer was rushed to the hospital, you know, emergency center around the toll gates along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And the fire service was called in, and they also helped to salvage the situation. Said there's no report of any weapons being taken away from the police station, but definitely part of the police post was affected by the fire. The police PPRO, Benjamin Hundeyin, has also confirmed this incident and also said that investigation has commenced. But there's also 2 suspected members of Yoruba Nation group. They were arrested during an attempt to take over Alausa police station in Ikeja on Sunday. They said during the invasion, the agitators, there were about 15, they had taken their phones out and they were recording the station, and they were chanting, "No more Nigeria police again," and Yoruba Nation has taken over in Yoruba land. Police has said that they went to the scene and dispatched everyone, and 2 of the agitators were arrested. They said they also got some insignia, cutlasses, charms as well.
Just they are sponsored.
The others escaped.
Sponsored to scuffle the, it's not.
Do you have a story here?
No. I want the story of the inauguration stories. I just took one person's own. The governor of Lagos State. Let me just mention one key thing that he spoke about. Of course, we know that Lagos State has been following what they call the themes project, which is the transport and traffic management, health, environment, education, technology, making Lagos, and the goal is to make Lagos a 21st century megacity with entertainment, tourism, and security and governance. But the key thing is, we are putting a plus to the themes project. That's what the governor said. The governor said it will now be known as Themes Plus, and a lot of priority will be given to gender inclusion. He said he promises gender equality and social inclusion in the second administration. He appreciated Lagosians for voting for him one more time, and that they would be including more women, and there will be gender inclusion in the second term administration.
Congratulations to him. So let's move on now to the Daily Sun. I reject shameful condition of our country, Obi urges judiciary to reaffirm its independence and integrity. Tinubu steps in, unveils agenda. Sanwo-Olu, Makinde, Abiodun, Mba, Oti, Fubara, other governors assume office in 28 states. Enugu governor issued 3 executive orders, pledges to transform state. Dr. AIT Ray Power founder dies at 71. Jonathan Atiku, PDP, and others mourn. Buhari reconstitutes aviation agency boards hours before departure, renames 15 airports after prominent Nigerians. Igbo Youth Group backs Kalu for Senate President, says he'll usher in Progressive National Assembly. Subsidy removal, marketers suspend sales after Tinubu's address. Queues build up at filling stations in Lagos. Sit at home in Southeast as IPOB marks Biafra Day. these queues, I don't know if you saw queues in your area. Yes, just yesterday after the new
And
president-elect.
Simply the new president.
The new president, at his inauguration speech, said that subsidy, before he landed that statement, filling stations all across the country started closing. They shut down. They drove customers. They stopped selling. This morning when I was coming, I saw queues, cars.
It's just not fair. This is artificial.
I don't know.
They had enough fuel and they want to wait for the price hike to profiteer from Nigerians suffering.
How do they even know that there will be a price hike?
They will definitely, once subsidy is off, there will be a price hike. And so the fuel you bought, you now want to sell for a higher price. Extremely wrong.
That's fair to us.
With a new administration, we shouldn't put stumbling blocks on the path of a new administration. There's good behind the policy, but when you make life difficult for citizens, immediately the policy comes.
Just halt it.
Maybe to just push PPRA officials out and make sure that if you have fuel in
you must sell.
You must sell it. That's all.
Okay,
but a lot of us woke up to the sad story of the death of the founder of Dark Communications owners of AIT, Raymond Dokwesi. He said he passed away in an Abuja hospital. He was 71 years old, and been getting condolence messages are being sent by dignitaries all across our country. The president, he said the president, former vice president Goodluck Jonathan, and Atiku Abubakar of the PDP have all expressed sadness. In fact, this spokesperson for Atiku Abubakar says that when he heard it, he said all he kept shouting was, oh my God, that he was really, heartbroken by it, and he sends his condolences. And he's just being, lovely tribute, just extolled for his business acumen.
His contribution
and all
to the media industry.
Yes, he's a household name.
A huge contribution to the media industry, especially when it came in where there was very few
first
private
time was private. I think it was the very first private
media. I want to take the story about the Minister of Aviation has been very busy in the last few days of the previous administration. He appointed, after 8 years of the aviation industry, most of the agencies within the aviation industry having no boards, just hours before leaving the administration, the aviation minister, Adi Sirika, has constituted boards for the aviation industry. So there's a board now for NCAA, there's a board for FAN, there's a board for NAMA, there's a board for NCAT, there's a board for NIMET, and there's a board for the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. All these agencies had no boards all through the 8 years. But just before he left, a press release in a statement that was signed by the public affairs, head of press and public affairs for the ministry, Odutayo Oluseyi, indicated that the NCA is now chaired by ABs. Like, they now wrote a list of all and then they renamed about 15 airports after prominent Nigerians just within hours before the administration ended.
Why did they wait this long?
I'm sure there will be a lot of investigation into what happened in the aviation industry, and I cannot wait. It's just going to take us back. Let's just move forward. But this is going to make us. We need to uncover what is happening here.
Yes,
a lot of changes happening at last minute.
Let's move on to the Vanguard. May 29 is time to re-examine our assumptions. Will be inauguration. Biden congratulates Tinubu, 6 sustained U.S.-Nigeria relations. No time for frivolities, Akeredolu tells Tinubu. Ondo motorcyclist steals community oracle, strangles 90-year-old custodian. Yes, I took it. Napoli to fend off interest in 130 million Osimhen from Man United Chelsea. I think these are for footballers. NLC faults subsidy removal as Man, Nasima, others hail unified FX. So quickly, they said in Irese community, Ifedore local government area of Ondo State, a commercial motorcyclist allegedly strangled a 90-year-old Ajayi Ajisegiri to death in a desperate bid to steal the community's oracle. So according to the story, he was arrested with somebody else, John Sampson, 27 years old, and Dada Ologo Dudun, 71. So according to the story, he had, he came to the custodian of the oracle and pretended to be a herbalist, was asking him questions about what does the oracle do and all of that, got all of that information, and then stole the oracle from his house, hid it somewhere. So the guy was like, you know this, I'm the custodian of this, you must bring it back or I'll report you to the village heads. And he came back, got him a drink. He promised to bring it back, got him a drink. By the time he was tipsy, He entered through the window, strangled him, and ran away.
Because of the oracle.
Because of the oracle. So only God knows what the oracle can do. Investigation started. They found him. He lied, first of all, that he wasn't the one that killed him, but later confessed that he stole the oracle, sent them to the uncompleted building where he hid the oracle, and they brought it from there. Just a painful story. Only God knows what that oracle...
It's what they believe the oracle can do.
Because
the
custodian of the oracle is not like there was anything fantastic about his...
Custodian, the oracle did not defend his custodian.
My sister, it's not a question I can answer.
You know, when we watch all those Marvel movies, it doesn't really defend the person that holds it. Thunder will not strike.
Any other story in the Vanguard? Okay.
The governor of Ondo State has advised our president to avoid frivolities, as they say, and because the task ahead of him is daunting, he says he hopes that he's not distracted by all these frivolities, and that he should also make conscious attempts to bring on board only those with proven capacity concerning expertise.
Okay. Thank you so much, ladies. That's all we can take on the newspaper reviews. When we come back, we move on to our hot topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in as the 16th president of Nigeria. In his inaugural speech, he highlighted a couple of changes that Nigerians should expect to see in the coming weeks. According to him, our administration shall govern on your behalf, but never rule over you. We shall consult and dialogue, but never dictate. We shall reach out to all, but never put down a single person for holding views contrary to our own. We are here to further mend and heal this nation, not tear and injure it. What are your thoughts on this? So join the conversation and call us on 081-270-58687 or 091-390-76948. We're going to be taking this conversation in layers. I would like us to start with what we thought about the inauguration, if you watched the inauguration, the feelings it evoked. I woke up yesterday at about 10 and I just said, the TV is not on, TV is not on. Where's the remote? They said the remote is beside you. I picked up the remote and we tuned in, and it was a beautiful sight to behold. So this is like the very first time I'm paying attention to a president being inaugurated. Okay. I watched from the beginning to the end, and you know, I saw the organization of everything. You know, we used to say Nigerians are not organized. They never see strong thing. There was organization, the officers who had to do the parade. It was beautiful to watch with their uniform and everything. The dancers that came to display, theater artists in their different cultures. It was beautiful. I saw when he was, you know, taking the oath, the vice president as well as the president taking the oath. However, I didn't hear the oath. So what I noticed is when we watch for other countries, they pay attention to us hearing what the president is saying, right? But commentators were all over the place. Yeah. I was hearing commentators. I'm not hearing my president. I've never really heard the oath, like what do they put in? Yes,
it was actually a conversation in my house.
Yeah,
my commentators should keep quiet at
Let's
this
hear
point
the oath.
so that we can hear them take
the oath or oath.
Yeah.
To hear the oath. But everything was so beautifully done, and I was proud. I was proud because it was peaceful. I was proud because I felt like Nigerians now accepted. Nigerians now felt it's time to forge ahead, you know. But let me come to you. How did you watch it? How was it for you?
I watched it and I was constantly looking at everybody's faces to see what they looked like, whether they were excited or they were giving some trolley moves, you know. But you're right, that's conversation about oath-taking, and the commentators were just too loud. And I think that going forward, we should do that. But also, I watched when former President Buhari was coming in, and the very first time. I watched it, but I don't know how much of it I watched because I don't remember much of it.
Okay.
But I thought it was well organized as well, at least at that Eagle Square in Abuja. But then I don't remember what the post-inaugural events were, or if there were any pre-inaugural events. But with this one, there was a dinner before, then the ball after. It was very American, and I was wondering, is this how we've always done it? Or
Yes,
this is
yes,
new?
yes.
I didn't realize.
We're party
And
people
then,
too.
you know, the ball, the president and his wife, the vice president and his wife, I'm like, oh, you guys, did you see Shetima? Shetima has one down step. I don't know if it's step or shoulder.
I don't know.
Wherever. Like, oh my God, you know. So I'm like, okay. You know, so there was such a, I think it was such a lively atmosphere. People seemed happy.
Yeah.
Of course, definitely the supporters were there. I love all our colors. I kept looking at the First Lady's face, but, you know, I didn't see any outright look.
Excitement?
Yes, there was no excitement.
I didn't see
almost, you know, she said, kept solemn, is the word I wanted. She was quite solemn. And I'm saying because of the person that we know of, which is a prayer warrior, I would not be surprised if she
was praying.
if she was still fasting at that point. That's all the only thing that was in my mind. I'm sure, and she looked like she was making sure with her
Everything
eyes
went
that
well.
everything was going on well. So that was the only thing. I didn't see anyone looking like, yo, here we are, we have made it. I was expecting to see that vibe, but I didn't see that vibe.
Maybe there were no Gen Zs there. To have
Probably. Or maybe they just understood that this is not a
Serious
joking,
business.
this is such a serious matter.
like the Queen's
We're here.
coronation. You won't see anybody so excited. Were
What's
they?
that? Madame was smiling, oh.
Yeah.
Camilla was
Camilla.
smiling.
Oh,
You
okay.
could
The
see her.
King's
you could see-
coronation.
The King's coronation, right.
She
So,
looked like she was happy. you know,
For me,
excited.
For me, I was very happy that we had a peaceful transition.
Yeah.
Because many people feared that, so the fear was that there would be, people would disrupt this occasion. There was fear that there might be violence around the country, that some people that did not want this, our president, might try to do some last-minute moves to truncate the transition. And one, I'm very happy it went peacefully. I'm happy that it was a smooth, beautiful location to watch. Yes, we had the fun fair, like you guys said. It looked interesting. It was interesting to see us like that. But, you know, because I watched 2015, and I was very, very involved in the politics that time. I didn't watch the entire inauguration this time. What I remember from 2015 and that is different from what happened this time was, in this occasion, we had more, the music was more...
Vibrant?
Yes, we had more vibrant music.
Okay.
We brought in the Yoruba flair, which was
Okay, now
different
that makes
from...
sense.
Yes, what you would have... What we experienced with
Former President Buhari.
and with the former president too, there was this, because the dominant culture then was Hausa, and there was this very
Conservative.
conservative look to the thing. This was more elaborate. People came out, the dresses, all of that. But I love that it was peaceful. I love that on the face value, everyone was speaking positively about their hopes and expectations. But I remember that even on the first, in 2015, there was a lot of, we were on the show that time talking about body language, because there was this thing about the way the former president spoke that inspired a lot of hope in people. And we need to keep hearing such messages even right now. So the speech of the president was good in giving us that feeling like, oh, there's something to look forward to. I'm hitting the ground running. But we also need to keep, it needs to be in our faces over and over again, because a lot of Nigerians have that reservation. But I am so, so happy that we had a peaceful transition, even from state to state, beyond the presidential election, because, you know, 28 states actually changed their at least, and
So that's the second point.
some were from the same governor just getting
back.
but some actually had like a
28
change.
states,
Yeah, 20. And for some states, even for the state like Zamfara State, where even where there was opposition, there was no violence, there was no obvious quarrel. There was just absence of the previous governor. The person just did not show up, or there's like cold stares, but we were able to, there's maturity. Our democracy truly is maturing. And as much as some people watching do not agree because they feel like, oh, they're looking on the sad sides, I want to say that I am proud of where we are democratically from 1999 till now. We have held it together, regardless of what everybody was prophesying over and over again that we're going to scatter. Our unity is non-negotiable. They keep saying that over and over again. And seemingly, we are here. We don't move, we're not shaking. You know,
I'm very happy that we are at this point where with everything that happened, with all the anticipation, speculation here and there, we're able to hold this together. We're able to have a successful, successful transition. And this is what other countries would be looking at Nigeria for. Nigeria will be a go-to place for excellent transition, peaceful transition, you know. They will know us for that. And it's something good. It's something worthy of emulation. If you have any other issues, you can always go to the appropriate quarters to redress your issues. But the fact that democracy is seen to be working here and people can look beyond. So I saw a lot of congratulatory messages from people that I did not expect it to come from. I'm like, what's in the air? What's happening? People are now saying, let's move on. Businesses have to thrive. We need to move on to education. We need to move on to other things. Now, what can this presidency offer us aside from going back and bickering and getting upset? And I want to see all those people who quarreled with themselves during the last election.
We just
they need can you just kiss and make up, understanding that politics is politics and life must continue. And we all have to look forward to a new Nigeria. I don't want to hear anybody come and insult or curse Nigeria in my presence. Nigeria must move on.
But as they say that this is a moving train. Get on it and get moving, you know. But I also wanted to say some of the observations I made. I noticed some past president wasn't there, and I thought that that was not good, and I would like to know why that past president. I don't think former President Obasanjo was
I didn't
at
see
the
him. I saw Jonathan.
And I also didn't see Abdul Salam. But you know, it would be good to see that because for other swearing-ins like that, they're all definitely there. So that's one. Then also concerning, I wanted to talk about this seriously, the governors that were not at their states to do a proper handover or the swearing-in ceremony. I personally think that there has to be something in the Constitution that mandates that an outgoing governor has to be there, take part in the swearing-in ceremony. It's part of the democratic process. You cannot have, you are now in another state, sitting down for their own swearing. It did not make sense. Benue State wasn't there. I mean, it just did not make sense. We know the Kano State governor tried to do his a bit earlier, and then, but that one, you said there was a little bit of altercation that happened in Kano State as well. I just feel that we can put our political differences and whatever aside and realize that the swearing in is about the people. So
it's a job.
Perform that duty and then
hand
go
over.
ahead. And you know, maybe to even give them some sort of punishment that if you don't do it, all those things that you signed up for yourself that you're supposed to get, you will not get it. Because at that last day is the day that you sign off, you know, on it. It does not make sense. It does not send the right message. Imagine if we, at the federal level, you had an outgoing president that refused to be there at the swearing-in ceremony of the new president. It's not a good look.
We need to tidy that up.
Think that
but let's
has to be
take a short break
fixed.
now. When we come back, we'll take phone calls and messages, and I'll take top-best comments. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us.
So I was going to talk about the fact that, you know, what we were saying earlier about some governors, the governorship inauguration in 28 states, we had 10 governors coming back, which meant that we had 18 governors that were new. And a few governors had complained that they didn't have a proper transition. And I think that we need to, the state houses of assembly need to do their job, which is to checkmate, you know, create balance. And it will come when the State House of Assembly understand that we are independent of the governors and our job is to protect the interests of the state, to protect the portfolio. A governor is not... a governor is not an individual. You are representing, you are carrying a platform. And when you have an office like that, it's not about whether you like it or not, whether you are in the mood or you're not in the mood, whether you have personal issues with the new incoming administration. Your responsibility as that governor holding that office is to respect the office that you hold. You held that office for 4 years or 8 years. In respect for that office, follow that rule and hand over properly. And because it doesn't even serve your state when the new governor does not even know all the things that are happening. It's something that we should stop as a trend by properly creating institutional penalties against governors who do that. Even as a country can decide not to do a proper transition. The president can decide not to do a proper transition. We don't know yet because all those that have been presidents in Nigeria now have always done it. So if there's no law preventing it from being done, it means somebody can choose to do it. So preempting the negative actions, because we've seen the trend from the state, should also be carried out. Then I noticed something else, that the Minister for Transport, former Minister for Transport, Amechi, wasn't at the current... So there were a lot of people that did not show up at this presidential inauguration. A lot of people that we expect they served in the previous one. There were members of the party. They chose some states to align with or just chose to be absent from the... So it's not like everything is peaceful entirely, politically, but
people are just keeping their peace.
Everybody is just choosing to respect the institution, and I applaud that maturity in our democracy to say, I might not agree with you, I will not show up, I'll keep to myself. But what Mariam said, that the president should be expected to show up regardless of whatever happens. And
I agree with that. But if you don't, as a governor, if you don't show up for the presidency and you show up for either any of the states, maybe your state, that's also okay. You are doing, because it happened the same day. It happened the same day, so you can't be in two places at the same time, But the problem is if you don't show up with the president, you don't show up in any of the states, and you want to sleep.
You are the governor. You are the C&C of your own states, and you should handle your state, hand over to the next person. Some people flew private jets after their... they witnessed the governorship and then went
down to Abuja.
Because I thought that the Lagos State governor would feel like it was missing out, especially as we know the relationship between him and our president. We will feel like, oh, well, it's my inauguration, but wouldn't it be nice to be part of what is happening? But this is his constituency.
This is your state. Primary assignment.
It's simple.
Exactly.
And I was also happy with the security in the Eagle Square. Yes, there was good coordination. I saw a lot of crowd outside, like there was a gate barricading. So some people were inside and some people were outside. There were a lot of crowd. There was no rowdiness, so to speak. Everybody, yes. When I watched those, I didn't see that much of rowdiness. And I think there was a point somebody mentioned something and it seemed like they were moving. But at the time they were standing and watching, there was a form of, the DSS did well to do that, make sure. And I'm sure I didn't hear any news of people getting injured. There's a stampede, everything was well organized. And I am happy that we can get to a point where we have large crowds of people. And I know this is I'm sure they've spent money for this inauguration. Don't even tell me they have not. Yes, I know it was well thought of, well planned. And if we can take this as a lesson, if we can plan at that national scale, why don't we bring it down to our different, smaller events and units? Anybody
for the other states, I think, for states now, I'm just saying, bringing it out, it's been peaceful. It's been peaceful, except for what happened in Kano State. So first of all, I heard that their stand where the collapsed. It collapsed. And then there were some, there was just some people who were unhappy about the incoming government too. And that has to be addressed, And I feel that it has a lot to also do with the way the outgoing governor handled that transition. There has to be a gentlemanly way.
That
or
even
a ladylike way.
Appeal to the people.
Yes, I say, this has happened. We've come to the end of one era. We're about to go into another. We cannot keep on fighting. It's about the people. These two elephants should sit aside and let the grass grow. That's what it should be about.
So can we talk about the first lady, the former First Ladies, you know, you were saying our new First Lady was very solemn, but the former First Lady was all smiles. Aisha Buhari was all
I mean, we're happy to leave.
It was all smiles like, we are free.
Yes, so we have tried for
we
you
are
people.
free. And then there was the first children, because they're not children. They're not children. People were like, they didn't even know who they were. So a lot were like, what's that lady in green? Who's that lady in green?
But I remember
that was Iyaloja now. That's our Iyaloja in Lagos, you know. People know Seyi Tinubu very well, but they didn't know the other man. So like, there were, I think like there were three of them that were very visible in front, that stood with the president, and people were just like, who are these people? We just know one. What are the other two? They're the children of the president. There's a new family now, and the new family, the first family, yes.
Remember the President Buhari's son that was quite popular for his accident and being flown abroad. He was there, and I was like, oh, see you. Your area has gone. Now we have a whole new
family.
And now we're seeing on social media, we're seeing the wife of Seyi Tinubu as well. They were talking about what she wore to the thing, you know. It's interesting to see that. But did you people see how our former president was received in Daura? They came out for him. It was like when Jesus rode on his donkey. They came out for him. They were like, Baba, oh, yo. They were
I didn't watch that. I didn't.
That was so interesting. I liked that because they did like the video of his chopper getting to Daura and how the people just welcomed him. They were happy
we
to
know
have
that
him back.
our former president is well loved within his community, and I think that's a good thing, because charity begins at home. If your people don't love you, then that doesn't speak well for you as a leader. And he's always spoken well about he's always talking about Daura, how he wants to go out. If any small break, he's going us his cattle.
But you know,
any small break, he goes to
his speech, where I think it was at the dinner, where he said that his cattle and sheep are much easier to handle than fellow Nigerians. I thought that was funny.
But we know ourselves, we're not easy to handle. Nigerians, we're too different and we're too enlightened, and everybody feels like, I know a lot, I know too much, I know it all. So for someone to lead Nigeria, there's a lot of humility, there's a lot of flexibility, and you will need to deal with different people. You know, but you might not even get your way at all, and it's a tough job. So I'm sure that the former president and family are happy to be out of the spotlight. They'll be getting a well-deserved break at the moment, and we're having a new administration. I did an Instagram live, my usual Monday yesterday, and all through I was talking about the importance of what you mentioned briefly, speaking life about your country, speaking positive about your country. I said, I was like, whoever rules Nigeria, whoever rules Lagos State, I am in Lagos, I'm in Nigeria. Nigeria will work for me. Nigeria works for me. The administration works for me. Lagos State works for me. I say, you will say it. Don't join people that are going to be talking bad about the country where you reside. Don't join people that will be talking about how nothing is going to work out, how you are expecting doom. To who? If the doom happens, it's you. So as much as possible, even if you don't agree, you will believe and you will say that whatever policy that is being put out will work for you, and you will be the beneficiary. You will pray for this administration. If you truly love your country, you will pray for the administration, you will pray for your governor, whatever state you find yourself, that they work well, that God will give them wisdom. Because if they do well,
it would affect you
all of us would enjoy it. All of us would enjoy it.
You cannot even be fruitful in a land that you curse. I always try to explain to people, you can't keep cursing something and you're there. It's not like you're living. And even when you live and you want to be fruitful and you're complaining the businesses are not working, you're complaining you're not getting good jobs, but anytime you open your mouth to speak about your country, you are aggrieved at what other people are doing, and then you're cursing the land. So channel your anger to the right person who is not doing well, but then don't even curse. Just, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what I expect you. And
so since we're talking about that, let me read of what I wrote in my Instagram for our new administration. So this is something I called from a friend. She says, in keeping with 1 Timothy 2, chapter 2, verse 18, chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. First of all, then, I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. And that, that the president would lead with wisdom and understanding, be surrounded by wise counsel, remember the poor, and facilitate industrialization of Nigeria with brilliant implementable policies. And that may your reign be worthy of the votes of those who supported you. And I think that that's the spirit that we should go ahead with going forward. Whoever would have been president, whoever would have been inaugurated yesterday as president, for me, I knew that I just wanted to move forward with positivity, with hope, and with the belief that God has got this and that person will do only that will be beneficial to Nigerians, that Nigerians will be happy about it, regardless of, whatever political leaning. And really, this is what I urge Nigerians to adopt, that mindset that it's going to work for us, it's going to be positive for us. All the challenges that we have had to drag through all the different administrations, finally we would see, yes. So let's put our anger aside and let's give hope and peace a chance, and let's see how it goes.
And that's why I wasn't happy the fact that the filling stations were closing just with the mere announcement, right? It just seemed like you want to bring us back again so that you will now start saying that from the beginning of the administration there was fuel scarcity. We need to help ourselves. If we want to grow beyond a certain level, we must work together collectively. If they had, paused and had a meeting to say, okay, what's the way forward? Give us a few days to organize ourselves before closing down all the filling stations. And now Nigerians will now start again to lament.
We will also see how this we'll also see how this administration tackles this. How it handles it would tell us. For me, it would be like a glimpse of what we would likely see going forward.
But it also would mean that as they came in, there's a crisis.
But Nigeria as it is the big challenge.
Yes.
So this is one. There are so many challenges littered everywhere. Day 2, there'll be some. Day 3, there'll be something. So if this is day 1, let's see how it's handled. Okay,
let's take a short break. When we come back, we likely get phone calls and messages. I've not heard from you people today. Please call us and send your messages. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. We have Joke from Iju. Good morning, Joke.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, ma.
I'm so happy. I congratulate everyone.
Thank you, ma.
And congratulations to our new president, Tinubu, and the people of Nigeria. I just want to pray that God will grant him a long life, good health, wisdom, to achieve his goal. His plan for Nigeria. So that everything will be well with each and every one of us.
Amen.
Well done. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joke. This is the kind of prayers we want. Right now, do we have messages?
Yes, I have. Andrew Stratham says, I always like British transition of prime ministers. Within 24 hours, you must be out of 10 Downing Street. The civil service will brief the new administration. They are above board. Okay. Basira says, if someone handed over to you properly without including personal differences, why can't you do the same? These things should indeed be made compulsory. Basira also says, okay, the observation made by the ladies are very correct. Those governors that were absent didn't send the right message at all.
I have one here. Antnam says, go to Ghana and other West African neighbors. They are buying oil more than 600. All these subsidy thieves want to blackmail the government.
Corey Marcus said it shall be well with us. Every individual that wants to jeopardize the progress of this country or motivates ill intention for this country not to work, just proving their point, God will intercept them. So we're really getting a lot of positive prayers, which is good.
So we have another call, Shola from Ikorodu. Good morning, Shola.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Everyone. And I say congratulations to everyone, to Nigerians, for the new government. I wish this government the best of ruling in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Now, please, I just have those 3 things to contribute to the program this morning. And number 1 is we have a new government. I think it's advisable we should just put our political differences aside, even right from your studio over there. That's number 1. Number 2 is we have a new government, like I said. When Obianjulu was actually reading out the newspaper headline, I heard her saying, you can't hear Ashwaju when he was taking the vote. The good thing is that he took the vote. We know our network can be fluctuating at times, and he signed the document. The last one was, I want us to please educate the public. It is not Ashwaju, it is not President Tinubu that removed the subsidy. He was only reading it out that there is no provision for subsidy when he was taking of the government. So it wasn't Tinubu that removed the subsidy. The subsidy has been removed before he took over the government. So people should not just have
put the blame on him.
The mind as if it was Ashwaju that removed the subsidy. There was no provision for subsidy
To pay for
right
subsidy.
from the end of May.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like that part that he highlighted. So, you know, the way we carry news.
That there was no...
On the streets, it will not be that there was
because it
no...
was the statement
It will
that
be
he
that
did
he
in the
came
session.
and the first thing he did was to remove subsidy. So I like the way he broke it down. There was no... We've been making that plan since that there's not going to be any form of budget allocation for subsidy anymore starting from June. We don't have the money to pay.
Yes.
And now he has entered just at the
but
tip
you know,
of June.
his body
The tip of the
language.
beginning of June.
His body language could have indicated, like, we'll find a way. But when he made his statement, his body language was like, there is no provision.
But there's
and
no
there will be
provision.
No, so
this
I
body
hear...
language-
I don't understand.
You know, like you can come into power and you know that there's no budget reallocation for subsidy, but you understand you can choose to say, let's find what we can do. Before campaign, he's always said that he does not believe in
subsidy,
that is not sustainable. So when he came into power and his first statement conveyed that same sentiment, what Shola is saying is trying to say, oh, it wasn't really from him. All of us know now, the President Buhari shifted that subsidy that it is not
Down
that will be
the
the one to
line.
carry this one.
Yeah.
Whoever the next administration will be the one to deal with it. Right from last year, it was a setup. And we knew that, whoever is coming to this country to be our president, they've set this person up for a lot of challenges on how to navigate the subsidy area.
Yeah.
But the removal of subsidy is something that it will be a pinch for many Nigerians financially, but it is a necessary evil for us to carry. And I would like to start from that part of the speech, in that many people will look at it that is the first decision, one of the first few decisions the president is making is a decision that will bring hardship on the people. Let's put it in right perspective. The current decision previously for the past few years seemingly might be what we are getting as a country. I want to put it at like we're getting three quarter of, or like half of what we are spending on subsidy is coming to Nigerians. The remaining half of that huge sum of money is going into the pockets of a few people who are positioned right in terms of they are the ones who are aligned to get the subsidy funding going to them. Only the Nigerians are only getting about half of that money, and that's where we come to the fact that we don't know how much we are consuming.
Yeah.
Because if you inflate the cost, it means Nigerians are not getting. If we're not consuming, if you say we're consuming 600, but we're actually consuming 300,
million, yeah.
so if we're consuming 60 million and we're actually consuming 30 million, the remaining 60 million, the subsidy from it, where is it going to?
Yeah.
Into the pockets of the people who are positioned.
Drinking it.
So if we remove the subsidy, everybody.
Yeah,
Let's take this call quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, we have Biodu Shitu from Ikorodu. Good morning, Biodu.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Doctor and I wish you all a very happy new Nigeria. In respect of subsidy removal, what the last caller just spoke about, I don't really see anything about coming and saying he's removing subsidy. Now, the point is, the subsidy should have been removed at the time of Obasanjo. Nigeria would have overcome all these issues about subsidy or not. If subsidy is removed today, even today, because we are removing from July, hopefully, Nigeria will continue to move on. Everybody will continue to rise. Well, it will be like it's a roller coaster thing. Nigeria is not going to end that day. Fortunately for us, we have that refinery in Nigeria here, so we can move on. I think Nigeria should forget about maybe there will be any struggle, any issues when he removes those people. Nigeria will continue and nothing will happen.
All right, thank you so much, Biodu Shitu. We have a guest now, Chukwuma Okenwa, public affairs analyst, who is going to be joining us via phone call. I think is around. Good morning, Mr. Chukwuma.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you doing today? You sound sharp.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Okay. So we've been talking about yesterday's inauguration. We've been sharing our views and our thoughts on how everything happened, congratulatory messages to the new president who has just, sworn his oath to serve. And I want to ask you, what are your initial thoughts on the arrangement and everything that happened at the inauguration?
Yeah, I would say let me join fellow Nigerians to thank the Almighty God for a peaceful transition, because we are aware that ahead of the transition yesterday, the inauguration, there were build-up of concerns whether, like some political gladiators, may want to hijack our hard-earned democracy. But I mean, it seemed to be like one of the most peaceful we've had in a time. So that's quite commendable, I must say.
So did you watch the inauguration from beginning to the end?
Yeah, I did. I followed the inauguration, yeah.
And you saw how the president gave his speech. So there's something I wanted to highlight. Initially, I thought he had a teleprompter in front of him because he had a speech written down, but he was looking up as he was speaking. He barely glanced down, and then he looks up and he speaks for a long period of time. What did you think of that? I know we didn't talk about it.
Well, I think, it's the sign of leadership that, I mean, when you have the paper, it should serve as a guide. Your programs and your plans should be like something that is well engraved in your heart, such that anytime, any day when you are called upon, you should be able to tell the people your plans, your initiative. People must not just see it as something from the head, but also something from the heart.
That's amazing.
Yes. Okay, so for me, he said so many things, and the part of the speech for me, which I think is very important and important to highlight, is security. And he says, that security shall be top priority of our administration because neither prosperity nor justice can prevail amid insecurity and violence. He also says that we shall invest more in security personnel, and this means more than increase in number. We shall provide better training, equipment, pay, and firepower. So for me, I'm looking at a president who does not have any military experience or military background, especially, vis-a-vis the outgoing one who came with military experience and background. And I'm saying, does this come across to us as just words or just mere words, or does it instill any form of confidence in you when you heard it, that this, especially in the way it was written, that this is someone who may know how to handle the insecurity challenge that we're facing?
Well, the most important thing about security, as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, he has all of the security advices he can ever get. When you have a national security advisor, you have like 3 major intelligence organizations providing intelligence. You get like security briefing on daily basis. All that is just expected of you would be that when policy recommendations are made, as a government that is truly interested in the people, just for you to give your approval and say, if this is workable, then let's do it. Like we know that when you talk about the issue of nation building, it is multifaceted, and a president is not expected to be a polymath, to be Mr. Know-it-all. You have to work with people. When they bring up a policy recommendation, what will really show whether you will succeed or not is your ability to always esteem national interest at every point above personal or parochial interest.
Okay, so I wanted to go into the part of his speech because, you see, when we listen to a lot of us come to the presidential speech with the expectation that, oh, we're going to have a clear idea of what the new administration will be doing. And he gave us a sense of that, highlighting the economy, because the two key things that are challenges for us as a country right now, it is security and the economy. If we can solve security and the economy, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will feel like, oh, this is amazing. But it's not like there's one way to do that. He spoke about the fact that there's a target of 6% growth in GDP, and he highlighted the fact that there will be emphasis on infrastructural development. But what would you say, amongst all the things he said he was going to do concerning the economy, would you feel would have the maximum impact on the lower bottom of the population?
Yeah, certainly. If you ask me, I think President Tinubu, with his team, has been able to review the two major sources of our income as a nation, or money for work in our economy, vis-a-vis where you talk about the federal allocation, which come from the oil, and in a bid to see how we can rejig that sector and make it work better, he came up with a policy of removal of the oil subsidy, which is commendable, and I think it's something also that we would expect to go alongside would be like to fix the refineries, have most of our oil refined, so that we don't have like any of like even paying either so much high cost or paying to have it subsidized. So that aspect of infrastructure, I think you mentioned, should also go into the aspect of the refineries, fixing the refineries to function optimally, to be able to help the economy. And then when you now look at economic growth, pointing out, prioritizing the issue of security, which is part of the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. You can agree with me that areas that are threatened security-wise, businesses also don't thrive. Yeah. I live in the Southeast. Every Monday, businesses are shut down because of security concerns. Today also, there is declared they sit at home. We are just seated at home. Businesses cannot go. So I see a nexus between a secured nation and, of course, a prosperous one. And then to make it better as well, I think one of the excitement I have is the fact that the administration also prioritized the issue of jobs. When you are talking about increasing the internally generated revenues, you understand that Nigerian economy is largely informal. You have SMEs playing critical role. And so if we don't have like a template to rejig these businesses, to rejuvenate them, incentivize them to thrive, and even have a situation where businesses and startups can access loans at single digits. With that, we can be sure that for the very first time, we could have the Nigerian economy growing at a double digit. Because we is commending him to like step up from the usual 1.5, 2.5 to aim to 6. I mean, it's doable. By the time he gets that at step 1, he can also begin to aspire for a double digit growth, which is possible.
Amazing, sir. So one of the items in the speech that I really liked was the fact that he talked about setting up agricultural hubs all across the country so that at least we can curb some issues, especially like wastage. We know that over the years, our farmers are not able to preserve their products. Now, how do you think this is going to come to bear? I don't know if there's a plan to probably work with private partnership with organizations and multinationals that have their main companies in Africa to partner to get these hubs across. I don't know if everything will be, coming from government coffers. How do you see this agricultural hub possible?
Of course, partnering with those multinationals and organizations will be a secondary option. The role of subnationals and, of course, the local government areas is primary and critical. We will hope to see how the president of Nigeria would be able to, through the Ministry of Agriculture, work with all the commissioners of agriculture, come up with a policy template that should be adopted and adapted by different states And then we're going to have a situation where that would be possible, because if we can spread this prosperity all across Nigeria, such that first, I mean, one of the first mark in economics to know a rich nation is a nation that can feed itself. A situation where when you look at the amount of money that we spend in investing foods, as at the last time I checked, we can employ over 600,000 young persons, paying them an annual salary of about 6 million, right? Yearly. So when you look at that, you find out that we can save a lot of that money, and then, if we're able to feed ourselves and even feed other nations that are across Africa.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chukwuma. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have another guest, Honorable Tunde Olatunji, a lawmaker, economy and policy expert. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning.
How are you doing today, sir? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Okay, we lost that call. Yes, so I just wanted to ask him his initial thoughts before moving on to, some of the policies. Like we had a question. What would you have asked?
Once he comes back, I was going to talk about the monetary policy. And see, I like the ways the president says that the monetary policy needs thorough house cleaning. And I know a lot of Nigerians are wondering that house cleaning would mean
we clean out Emefiele.
Emefiele will be
Are we
cleaned out.
cleaning out
the
Emefiele?
old notes.
And then he spoke about the concept of the currency swap, which he says, he thinks was a good policy, but the way that it was implemented was wrong. I would really like to hear from, political and economic analysts what they think of that speech and what sort of feeling or emotion that it elicits. Do you understand that, okay, does it sound like this is someone that understands what the issues are and what needs to, in my own opinion, looking at it, reading it, I feel that, okay, this is someone that definitely understands the issues, not distracted by frivolous side comments about it, but he went straight for the issues. He says the central bank must work towards a unified exchange rate. Very true. Interest rates need to be reduced to increase investment and consumer purchasing in ways that sustain the economy at a higher level. I just like how specific, this is. And for me, it gives me confidence that at least there's an understanding of the problem. So now would be when we see when the cabinets are being when the cabinet is being introduced, who and who will be handling such issues.
I was a bit scared because that interest rate goes two ways.
Yeah,
so
he said,
interest rates, if you're coming to get loan for business, that is the one I know that should be reduced so that a lot of people can have access to loans to conduct their businesses. Interest rate reduction, if you are investing, is another one. So if you've gotten money, you understand where I'm going to. You've saved up money. Let's take, for instance,
treasury bills and all of that.
Bill,
but those ones have been very small now.
Wait now. If they are going to reduce interest rates, it may go round. It may not serve everybody to totally. So if they give us like specifics of the type of interest rate they are planning to touch,
currently, most of the loans banks are giving are floating loans, which means that if the interest rate goes up, it will affect you. I took loan at 25%. I'm paying back now at 28%. Because it's not static. As the monetary policy changes, they will do MPR or MRP, and they will now tell me the loan, my interest is changing. So for me, it doesn't make it's terrible, the inconsistency of our
so for me,
for our economy. Very, very bad.
Let's pause you there. Our caller is back.
Okay.
Honorable Tunde, our guest actually, Honorable Tunde Olatunji. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me now?
Good morning.
Okay, so I wanted to get your initial thoughts on the inauguration ceremony as a whole. Did you watch it? What did you feel about it?
Yeah, I did. I was present. And I will tell you that it was a good start for the new administration and Mr. President, particularly in terms of what he intends to do for Nigeria. I was so excited about the fact that he's looking at how do we address the structural defects in the Nigerian economy. Over time, what we are saying is economic measures that are aimed at addressing the symptoms and not the cause. And so, for the new administration to be looking at, number one, harmonization of our foreign exchange rate, it's a good one, because what we have presently is that Nigeria would have to earn in the official rate, and then you spend that same money unofficially. You take, for instance, at the end of every allocation sharing by the month end, the allocation is shared based on the existing official rate. But when you give this money to the state, they are not going to spend those money officially. It's going to be a reflection of the unofficial rate, because all your buying and selling and all of that are going to be based on unofficial exchange rate. Number two is that it's also very important that we are taking a bold step at, testing out subsidy on fuel. And it is not just that subsidy will be removed, it is going to be deliberately channeled into other critical sectors of the economy. That's also a good one. And again, the fact that we're looking at how do we reduce the exchange rate, which is making it very difficult for anyone to be able to get bank loans to do any serious business and be profitable. These are some of the issues that are, and the president also talked about the fact that infrastructure will be given attention that it deserves. And if you look at the speech carefully, he wasn't just talking about infrastructure. He was able to link infrastructure with job creation. So he said we'll go into labor-intensive infrastructural development. These are the ways by which you can rebuild your economy and you can lay the right foundation. And by the time the goodwill to implement all of this is there, the political will is there, the right leadership is in place, I bet you that Nigeria would, for once, be able to start rebuilding its economy that is efficient. And also is very, also a good one that security has been identified as key to, both justice and prosperity as a nation. Without security, we can't even talk about the economy. Without security, we can't talk about justice. So it's good that the president and his team will be looking at, reviewing both not just the doctrine as well as the architecture of our security, so that we begin to have, a security architecture that is fit to address today's needs. So we've been seeing things like, improvement in welfare, recruitment of more hands, training of our personnel. And I think with all of this and with the support of every Nigerian in making sure that we midwife a better place for all of us, Nigeria, I'm optimistic, will be on its way to taking its rightful place in the community of other nations.
That's amazing.
Okay, so I was going to ask, I feel like you've even answered the part where I was talking about monetary policy, but I was going to say that, how we have read the speech, and we, for a lot of us, it seems that for a lot of people, it comes across as quite positive and shows that maybe this present administration knows what it's doing. But here we have the situation of fuel subsidy, where as of this morning, we've woken up to long queues, and people are saying, oh, he shouldn't have made the statement he made during the inauguration. This is not a statement you make without having a backup plan. And so I'm wondering that with some of these promises or goals or plans that the intention might be there, but what could be the fallout of some of these? What would be the fallout, and then what is the capability, or what is the? So, in what way can we honestly say that we can carry out some of these policies, especially with the fuel subsidy? We've seen how that has affected fuel queues, you know, and I'm wondering how he's going to handle that. When you talk about 1 million jobs, you know, where are you going to get this 1 million jobs? When you talk about unifying exchange rate, what would that signify? You know, what sort of work would that involve?
Thank you very much. You know, when I submitted, I ran it over with the support of Nigerians. We must know that the job of nation building is a collective responsibility. The leaders must be accountable, and the followers must also be responsible for the kind of nation they want to build. And courage is an important ingredient in leadership. There can't be a better time to begin to, you know, look at, you know, issues that have held us down as a nation than the beginning of an administration. I am in sync with the fact that the president made it very clear that there is no provision for subsidy in the current budget we are running. And by implication, it means subsidy has gone. And and that is the fact. What we see today, waking up to see queues on the streets was not because the fuels that are going to be dispensed this morning is a reflection of the new subsidy remover. It is just the Nigerian factor that we want to, you know, work at cross purposes with all measures that can help us as a nation. And that is why if we want all of those promises I highlighted and mentioned yesterday to work, we must be willing to pay the back, you know, to make the necessary adjustments and cooperation for the government to work. And you look at it this way. When we are going to begin, look at our subsidy over time, look at how much Nigeria is spending on subsidy. Without making that policy statement, you won't even be able to review what the subsidy has done to us as a nation. Just recently, the NMPC was saying Nigeria consumes about 60 million liters of fuel per day. And the question, and Ipman came out to say that cannot be true. Except we begin to interrogate by first saying we are removing the subsidy. That is when we can know how much exactly is Nigeria spending on subsidy. Our subsidy has been abused, it has been manipulated, and it has become a very huge burden on the Nigerian people. Secondly, is the fact that if you look at the Nigerian economy today and all the opportunities and the potentials that we have, to look at generating 10 million jobs, I tell you, it is not an impossible task. Take agriculture, for instance. Nigeria today, in terms of arable land, you know, we have more land than we can farm. Look at a country like Netherlands, that is just the size of Lagos, and look at the fact that that country has become the second largest exporter of food in the world. That tells us what cannot happen if we have the same thing happening in Nigeria as a whole. Jobs that agriculture alone can give us is a million. Again, is the fact that when the government is looking at, you know, reviewing our NPR rate, yes, to a layman, how does that impact me? How does that bring food on my table? How does that create jobs for me? But it does, because that is the benchmark that decides the interest rate of our economy. So by the time you're able to review your NPR rate and you bring it down, it will in turn simply mean that there will now be reduction in interest rates. When you have reduction in interest rates, it will make it possible for people who want to do business to now have access to more funds. It will make it easy for people who are salary earners to be able to say, oh, this is my salary. Can I take a portion of my salary to begin to service this loan? And then you can have a loan that will not be neck-breaking. If you bring that NPR rate, you begin to see that it's going to stimulate the economy. SMEs will now be able to do more business. And by the time you are bringing NPR, and you're also looking at affordable and accessible electricity, what that simply means is that an average business today that looks at how much...
Are you there, sir? Wow.
So actually, I was shocked about the affordable and accessible electricity. I can understand having more access, but I'm surprised at affordability, since we are trying to run away from subsidizing an economy of subsidy. It will be a bit. I would like to understand how the new administration wants to make it more affordable, because we've spoken to a lot of people in the power generating sector that we are not even yet charging a cost-reflective tariff in Nigeria yet. So it's not necessarily, I don't know if the only way you can make it affordable is to subsidize it. I don't know how it will work. So I was hoping that our guest would maybe when he comes back, able to
won't be able to come back.
answer.
If you
even concerning that fuel subsidy, I think we also need to mention that, you know, the president says he's taking that out, but this is money that could go into education, healthcare, jobs, you know. So for me, it's now, because we also asked that question, so what will happen to that amount of money that we've always put aside for that, and is going to places that it will affect us? So I'm saying that because people would say, you know, would mention, I think one of you had mentioned that it will be tougher on Nigerians. Taking out subsidy will be so tough on Nigerians. But imagine if the Nigerian is able to go to the hospital and able to afford healthcare, if our children are able to go to school, you know, if our teachers are being able to pay, our medical personnel are not on another strike because, you know, there's no money. So I feel that we'll enjoy it in some way.
Okay. We have Saka from Katsina, our final call for today. Good morning, Saka.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
My own is just a general contribution. I want you to tell Mr. President that he has a very hard job in his front, and Allah will help him. What I'm saying is that on Saturday, I came to Ilori from Katsina. My wife told me that they could not get petrol all over Katsina. They have already closed all the petrol stations. Wow. On Saturday. You can see Nigerians on Saturday.
So sorry, yeah. Immediately he made that announcement.
No,
they just went ahead.
Ahead of the announcement.
Oh.
This was in Katsina on Saturday. Ahead of the announcement yesterday.
They had closed
in
down.
Lagos, the announcement was yesterday morning, and immediately the announcement came out, all the filling stations closed down. Yeah. So there's a part of we, the citizens, cooperating with the government to ensure that we don't bring undue hardship on the people. So I also wanted to mention something quickly, that one of the things I was looking out for was the policy that would address inflation. We have hyperinflation, especially in terms of food being very, very expensive. So the food prices are really, really high. So we spoke about providing agriculture, improving agriculture, but we currently have very expensive food, and with subsidy out, the price would go up because all foods are being moved around, and they would transfer the difference in price on the food item. So we'll now have price of food going higher. And I don't know if there's any short-term policy to help reduce the effect of the prices of food that is going to skyrocket.
I'm worried, especially because NNPCL is saying a different figure from IPMAN. There's no synergy or synchronicity in the numbers that they are presenting. This one is saying this is the amount of fuel that we use per day. The other one is saying that's not actually true. So I'm worried that there's going to be a probe, to really find out where the subsidy money has been going to. And we want it to be transparent enough so that Nigerians can see what has really been happening, because we cannot keep ripping ourselves off all the time. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, you have one final thing before we go? Are you done?
For Nigeria.
Prayer for Nigeria. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. That's all we can take on today's show. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye now.